guys. Episode 25, Snagged podcast and giveaways. Still here, still doing what we do.
25, that's, what is that now? That's quarter of 100.
Your maths is right on.
It's
like
pretty good, isn't it?
That's it. So who's been fishing? What's been happening?
Oh, I managed to get out for a sneaky fish on the weekend. So last week I was up Lonnie for work, so missed out on the podcast this week. Then I came back to Hobart for the weekend, and now I'm at Devonport for the week for work, working up Devonport and Burnie. So got out for a bit Saturday, went around, had a look for some of those kingfish down south. There was probably about I'd say 12 boats in about 100 metres of water where someone was getting them, and then everyone's just gone there, and of course we went and joined in, and it was ridiculous there for a minute. There was boats everywhere.
When you say 100 metres of water, you mean area, not
just squared. Like, to be honest, it'd probably even be 50. Like, they were tied in up on a little bit of structure, but we didn't manage to get one. A few people managed to get some that day that we saw photos of. But the other thing, so I went with Will Thorpe. I've been talking about how I've wanted to catch an elephant fish for a while, which, I don't know, they're a little bit weird and you don't hear much of them on social media. I don't know
elephant fish, they're pretty cool. They've got those funny proboscis.
I'll drop the photo up. But such a weird looking fish, and you just don't hear much about them. I swear, like, I saw a photo of them probably a few years back and going, oh yep, I've always wanted to catch one, but then just sort of had no idea what or where or what time, anything at all. But we had some squid because we were using squid heads trying to catch kingfish. So we cut up some nice little squid strips, dropped them out onto a nice little light circle hook, and just literally waited for him to grab it, tap, load up and go. And got myself my first elephant fish. Will Thorpe got one as well, so both got elephants.
Nice work. And was that down that area at Midway Point? I know they try from there.
No, it wasn't around Midway Point. We went and we fished Northwest Bay, and then we went screw it, and we literally went back, dropped the boat, and just sent it straight up the east coast around that Tri-Bunno sort of area in there. So
they're a pretty cool fish, and I caught one many years ago, and like when you drag them out of the water, they look pretty wild. And you think, wow! So it sort of predated the smartphone. So I had to wait till I got home and did the old dial-up internet with which you wouldn't have heard that noise before, Dylan. But when we used to do the internet, it used to make some wild noises through your modem. But I had a bit of a look, and so they are sometimes known as an elephant shark, but I don't believe they're a shark. So you've correctly said elephant fish. I forget most of what I read because it was a long time ago, but I did hear or read that they're pretty good eating. And when you, in Australia at that time, when you purchased Bird's Eye fish fingers, when you look on the back of the packet, it would say whitefish. Now, whitefish is a lazy way of just saying whatever, but predominantly back in the day, when it said whitefish on the back of your Bird's Eye fish fingers, it was elephant fish caught predominantly from South Australia. They seem to, get in a bit of a spawning aggregation, and they used to wallop them pretty hard. So I'm not sure what they do now. That was 15 years ago.
Lesson for everyone.
Well, a little bit of useless information. I'm a wealth of it. Don't you worry. Hang on to your hat. We've got 75 75 shows to go. I'm sure I can fill your heads with some more useless information just yet.
That's it. Episode number 100, Hooch is useless facts. I love it. Oh, very good. You been out fishing, Hooch?
I did. I took the kids out just to try and find some, on the high tide, there's some mackerel coming into the river, and we just thought we'd go for a bit of a muck about. So I went down at the right time, the right tide, had all the gear, and didn't sight them, and thought that's weird. And then 2 or 3 days later, went down just to have a little bit of a countermeal and a drink on the wharf. There's a little bit of an eatery there, and I just thought, I'll have a bit of a look, and there they all were. So I must have missed them by a little bit. I thought I was there at the right time the day before, but on the tide, they come in on the tide at a certain window, then they go up into the estuary, do their thing, and they come out. I would recommend that if there's anyone in Tasmania on the northwest coast that wants to get a king casting in those areas like Ulverston, I would try casting some reasonable sized lures, surface lures and diving lures on the last third of the incoming tide. I'm sure there would be some predators like kingfish chasing those bait fish as they come into the river. I might try it myself and prove it.
It's quite funny, like, talking about that though. So one thing we saw on the weekend when we were down Northwest Bay having a look for some kings was mackerel everywhere. Like literally just schools of thousands of them just smacking stuff on the surface. And you're thinking, oh, well, you know, they're chasing something. Something's got to be going chasing them. And I reckon for hour, 2 hours, like we were just walking, obviously not walking, we were casting at them, and there was just nothing else with them. It's so weird, like especially down south. Like that's been the second or third trip where like the water temp's been warm. Like there's been heaps of bait, heaps of action on the surface, but just nothing chasing them, which is just weird. But yeah, no, they're definitely
quite often, and this is a technique that might come to us in Tasmania. But if you're out in a boat or maybe on the shore, you've got those mackerel in big numbers, but they're all fairly lively and quite fit. It's surprising what you find if you can, and on the mainland, say Harvey Bay, you would grab your mackerel and you'd pin it with a fine gauge circle hook in the back so it would live for a while, send it to the bottom with a ball sinker, pay out a little bit of line so that livey can get off the bottom a bit, but it's still got a circle in it, it's still got a ball sinker attached to it, so it looks wounded as, and it just stands out like dog's kahunas, that's the one that your predator's going to eat. Meanwhile, the thousands of live ones are escaping the predators. Same thing when you put one under a balloon. And I mean, if you're in and around an area where there's some mackerel coming through and you catch some, and the wind's in your favour, like an offshore breeze, and you've got a bit longer rod, blow your balloon up. Again, put your little fine gauge mackerel, fine gauge circle hook in your mackerel, and just feed it out and see what happens. Because we know now that, people would have said, "Oh, that's a mainland thing." We don't do that here. But more and more so, mainland fishing is coming to us. You see it with the snapper fishing. You see it with the kingy stuff. These species are coming at us. So it's high time that we get inventive and try doing things they've been doing for years on the mainland.
Yeah, I did hear just like literally today was a young guy that was had a live ear on, like, because I've never done particularly well with kingfish and live baits, but he had a little live mackerel on just under a balloon out off Blackman's Bay near the blowhole there. And he managed to get a king on that. So he'd been casting lures out the side of it, and this thing started moving like they do, and then next minute, bang, got himself a kingy. So it does work.
And it's something you can do in unison too. I mean, you can pull yourself out a bait, even if it's a strip bait, until you catch your livey. If you're looking for a kingfish on a point somewhere, anywhere, you can put a bait out under a balloon if the weather conditions suit, and still cast until that balloon does or doesn't go off. So, yeah, you've got two rods, you might as well put them to use. One can have a bait under a balloon. One can even have a bait just unweighted. Who knows what you might catch in this day and age. You could be spinning and casting your arms off for a kingy and catch a nice snapper or school shark or whatever.
Absolutely. All right, boys, let's move into some reports. I'll do a bit of what's going on in the south, Hooch, and then I thought you could maybe, after do that, Hooch's hot tip for the week, and then maybe a bit of a report of what's happening up north. How's that sound?
No worries at all. Sounds good.
Okay, cool. Down the south, kingfish fishing off the rocks of Blackman's Bay. It seems to be the spot at the moment. All the little tackle rats are going there after school, or those that are still on holidays getting out there. There's been a lot of casts between fish, but the ones they're getting off there seem like they're pretty decent fish, so good job, youngsters. White soft plastics, silver chrome slices, all that sort of stuff, just the typical sort of things seem to be going well. And a few guys using a lure called a Tatsumi. It's like a little Japanese branded sort of thing. It's like a heavy bib lure, nice big hooks and stuff on it, getting a big cast out of those and cracking them back nice and fast, which is kind of cool. As we were just talking about before, absolutely bucket loads of mackerel kicking around everywhere down here. Channel is absolutely full of them, and obviously the bait fish that go along with them. The kingfish are obviously in there smashing those things up. So get out there and maybe get yourself a feed of mackerel too. A lot of people don't mind grilling them over barbecue. I don't mind them. Some people hate them. I actually don't mind them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if you butterfly
Mako's
them, like I've said, butterfly them, get the bones out of them, olive
absolutely.
oil, pepper and salt, happy days.
Absolutely. Plenty of Makos down Eagle Hook Neck. Get the burley going down there, do your thing, and there's plenty of those bad boys kicking around. I'm sure you'll probably talk about this one too, but did you hear us about that? Is it a louver fish?
Yes,
That was kind of cool. I don't know a lot about them, never even knew they existed, but until I saw that report, I think it washed up somewhere just south of St Helens or north of St Helens around there on the beach. Kind of cool.
St Helens area,
did a little bit of research. That turns out they do get them down here quite regularly, but they are certainly there. Squid have been sort of kicking around down here a little bit slower, probably because the kingfish are all kicking around. They're probably down there hiding. So a few kingfish off Snagged, a few Dents Point, Bulls Bay, and probably a good little spot down off the rocks of Blackman's Bay on the blowhole in the northern end. So that's been going quite well down there. Obviously, heaps of Aussie salmon kicking around. It's been kind of good. Looks like we might have lost Dylan. He's probably dropped out, but I'm sure he'll be back soon.
He might be using the hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Cool. Hot hit for you for the week, my man.
Well, hot hit for me is if you're away from home working and you're in the hotel, don't smash your bandwidth the night before.
That's probably a good, wise bit of advice.
Because you'll run out of download and then you'll get dropped. Now, he'll come back and edit himself in, no doubt. Look, the bluefin, summer bluefin, northwest coast, amazing. Todd, I keep forgetting Todd. He's a mate of mine. I keep forgetting his last name. That's disgraceful. Just bear with me while I look it up. It's Todd Bakes. There you go. It was a little bit like radio. I was trying to do a bit of a thing. But, so Todd Bakes, he has been out catching bluefin tuna and doing quite well.
Up your way?
Yes, off Ulverston. I think they've also been doing quite well off Sisters Beach, and it's just perseverance. It is quite simply, what would you say? What I'm trying to say is, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Down south or off the east coast, there's certain areas that have traditionally been bait holding ground or starting points. We all know that if you come out of Pirates Bay, you can come around the corner, leave the lures out until you get to mouth of Fortescue, put them in, Little Hippo, a couple of laps of the Big Hippo, down into, off to Tasman and back again. But in Bass Strait, it's much more critical to have your eyes and looking, because you're looking for the birds, you're looking for the whales and dolphins, anything that's going to give you a little bit of a hint that something's going on, because it is pretty tricky to find those fish in Bass Strait. But Todd's doing a really good job.
Absolutely. It's a big old wide bit of water there.
And he's tagging them too. So he'll take one for the table and then he will, tag some. So that's going to be quite interesting, because there'll be hundreds and thousands of tagged bluefin, and they'll get a bit of a spreadsheet of where they're coming from. And I mean, Bass Strait, is going to stand out quite weird that there's fish coming out of Bass Strait. It's quite cool.
Yeah, it's definitely turning into an epic little fishery for you guys up north, which is awesome.
Yeah, my word. Now, I apologise for being a bit vague there. I clicked some stuff to try and find Todd Bake's name, and you disappeared. And it was very tricky talking to nothing and then not being able to get you back. But you're back now. And then, of course, the kingfish. You spoke about the kingfish down south. Well, they're just going gangbusters across the northwest. There's not really any rocky point or area that is. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back.
He's back.
He's back.
So, apparently, if you sit your phone on your laptop that's running, it'll just randomly go, "Nah, I'm too hot. I'm shutting down."
Excellent.
Oh, wow. That's
you're back.
Good thing you're back anyway. So, sort of northeast. It's interesting to see the quality of the kingfish that are being caught. Now, there's two kingfish, well, more than two, but there's a number of kingfish that have been coming from the northeast that are incredible, well over the metre long and upwards of 20 kilos. Now, a 20 kilo kingfish is a trophy in any country. Look, I mean, maybe certain parts of New Zealand, they'd probably roll their eyes and not be very impressed. But most parts of New Zealand, most parts of Australia, if you waltz out and catch a yellowtail kingfish on a surface lure, it goes over 20 kilos, that's a fish. And so Damon Sheriff has done that. And also Mason Paul's son, Daniel Paul, he's managed to do a solo trip to the north. Oh, actually, credit where credit's due. Damon was in a boat. Daniel Paul, I think, was casting from the shore. So that's actually trickier, not only to hook the fish, but to keep connected to that fish because of the reef. And they fight dirty. They're not called hoodlums for no reason. They are hard work kingfish and they know all the dirty tricks. So they'll bust you off as quick as they can. So, yeah, really good angling. And if you want to check out that info and you're not, which I doubt very much you are not, but if you haven't checked out, I think it's Tassie Kingfish, Tassie Kingfish. There's lots of info on there about those two captures. And Facebook pages, they're a bit of fun. Sometimes they annoy me because there's some flogs that get on there and haven't got very good manners and they get a bit frustrated and jealous and then they come out and they talk a lot of smack. Everyone loves to, as Australians and Tasmanians, we love a stir and we love a few shits and giggles, but sometimes you just got to read what you wrote and go, do I sound like a cock? And if you do, just delete it. But one page that I'm going to give a bit of a lift because I think it's funny and a bit of fun, a mate of mine, Matt Wilkinson, started it with a few mates, and it's just a piss take, but it's sort of come full circle now because there's a few people that are catching gurnard wrasse.
Oh, I think I saw this, yeah.
Yeah, so I've given the page a little bit of a lift today, and I'm going to put a bit of time and effort into it. There's I think there's 1,400 people on it, and I mean, I circle back through the photos, and I really enjoy the people that have put up their photos of the gurnard and the cod and the wrasse. So yeah, we're going to build it into a little bit of fun. So if you aren't a member of the Tasmanian Gurnard, Cod and Wrasse page, by all means, come across and let's have some fun. And I'm going to run that page pretty much like I feel social media should be run. So I run a few pages that I have to be fairly diplomatic, but this one I'm going to run like it should be run. So if you're a cockhead, you'll be banned. If you're a funny, decent sort of a human, you'll be celebrated. And if you love a piss take and a giggle and having a bit of fun, you'll have some fun on this page. We're going to do some how to handle gurnard, some facts, because there's a lot of facts that get lost around gurnard in relation to when you get spiked and why they hurt and all that. And just like cod and wrasse and we'll try and find some recipes because, they've been looked, we look out down our nose and we laugh down our shirt sleeves at people that catch these fish, but they're bread and butter fish. And sometimes they are the fish you catch when you're a kid and 10 years later you're hooked. So I'm going to celebrate them.
Love it.
That's it for me.
Fantastic.
Just on that too, back to the kingfish. I don't know whether you mentioned it, but Jarvis Wall got another cracker kingfish from up that north region. I don't know whether you saw that, but that was another really good stomper of a fish. And I don't know whether we did Hooch's hints because I was sort of too busy cooking. But we forget that. I got my own hint. So if you're ever out and your phone overheats, put it in the fridge. Works a charm every time.
There you go. Well, that worked in well with my hint, and you'll see back later when you review my hot hint works in well for what I said.
Absolutely. Get in the fridge, cool it down.
Now, just quickly, and are you in Devonport?
Yes, I am.
How long for?
Unfortunately, until Friday Arvo.
Well, I'll have a look at the weather, and you got to, like, with the weather the way it is, if we get a chance, have you got your gear? Fishing gear?
No. No, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Anyway, well, if you're keen, I'll have a look at the weather tomorrow night, and we might spear out and see if we can't catch a kingy or a tuna or something.
Yep.
Apologies for my arm just reaching over there. That was probably the biggest black spider I've seen in my life.
Oh, wow. No, good.
Actually, that was big. I won't lie. It's not doing so well now. Awesome. All right, you two can talk about going fishing a bit later on. All right, brag boy. We got some brags this week. All right, firstly, young Henry Mather with a cracking kingfish off the rocks at Blackman's Bay. Awesome work, legend. I think you got a few, actually, by the time you did it, so good job. A little tackle rat from the shop, young Joe Widdock with a cracking kingfish from Blackman's Bay rocks at as well. So awesome work. It is fishing off there. I remember growing up there chasing salmon. You never get a kingfish. I remember getting roasted by a few things, possible kingfish, but let's just say big salmon. So awesome job, young Joe. Danny Petty with a nice King George whiting. Awesome work, legend. Tim Wright with an awesome 40 centimetre plus brim. That was a cracker, so he's done well there. Lucia with a 48 centimetre brim. I don't know if you saw that one, Dylan. That was an absolute stonker of a thing.
Which one was that?
That was on, I think, Fishing in Tasmania page. Go back and have a look. Absolutely awesome fish, so awesome work. Mason Drew with a stonker of a silver trevally. That was an absolute cracker, so awesome job there, legend. Jonah Lagos with a nice blue throat wrasse from up the east coast. I have to get it onto that page of yours, Hooch.
Yes.
Big Dave Smith with a cracking tailor, his little bycatch from catching a kingfish. He hasn't, one of our best viewers, he hasn't actually got a kingfish yet. He's put a lot of hours in, so hopefully the big guy gets him. Maybe we'll have to get him on the boat with you, Dill, see if you can get him one. Charles Allen, a little session down South Armway, bait fishing, some nice squid and some silver trevally. It's awesome work. We were talking about this one, absolute stonker of a kingfish from Damon Scherf, 123 centimetres. That's an absolute stonker. I think the biggest one I've heard so far was about 140.
Wow.
Fantastic. That's an epic fish. So good job, Damo. He's done well. Jack Bryant, 68 centimetres salmon caught on 10-pound braid at Primrose Sam's. That's getting up there for an Aussie salmon down this way.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff you
Yeah.
can get up north, which.
Yeah,
Matty Sinners, sorry?
True. And just another quick useless fact. Australian salmon, we've got two species that are very hard to tell apart. We've got the East Australian salmon and the West Australian salmon. And I think the only way to tell the two apart is you count the gill rakers. It's a different number in the gill rakes. But you certainly know when you come across a West Australian one if you catch it on the west coast of Tasmania because they are massive and really powerful. But yeah, you can't really tell them apart. But we do have two subspecies that are all lumped into Australian salmon or blackback.
Yeah, right. There you go. That I did not know.
There you go.
Matty Sinners with a cracking pike. I'm talking to a customer today. Who'd you ever eaten pike?
I have. Now, most people would also laugh, but it was pretty fresh. It was bled and chilled. It was in the fridge overnight. We had it for breakfast. We lightly fried it in some, I think it was just flour and some pepper, and put it between two bits of white bread on some Duck River butter, and it was delicious.
That rubber butter makes everything better.
And delicious. Not the sort of fish I would leave on a plate in the fridge for a week and then eat it. But that was
that fresh good.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say it was, they're a trophy table fish, but again, this is part of what we'll do. We'll do some recipes.
All right. Michaela Branch with an epic kingfish locally as well. Awesome job there. Will Thorpe with a cracking elephant shark from Tribunna as well, I believe. So the elephants are around. Nathan Housing with another cracking kingfish for the season. Awesome job, Nate. Darren Wigg with his first snapper. Awesome work. Congratulations. Everyone remembers their first. I assume everyone here has caught a snapper?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right, moving over into the freshwater. Nathan Housing, him and a couple of mates went up to fish the Central Islands, 41,000 steps, plenty of refusals, but one awesome brownie, awesome work, legend. That was a cracking fish. I'm not sure if you guys saw that or not, but it was an epic Western Lakes fish. He did really well. And 41,000 steps, he's certainly earned that fish. Peter Booth with a cracking brown trout from Crescent, and Tyler Berry with a nice brown from Crescent. Crescent seems like it's fishing pretty well at the moment, which is kind of cool. The season's been a little bit tough for a few people over the last few months. Obviously, the cormorant's absolutely everywhere, but Crescent seems to still be producing nice fish.
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing with Crescent. It's like people spend that's the one place where people put so much time and effort in. Like a lot of people, and people don't realize it. Like you're like, oh, I'm just going up to Arthur's Lake for the weekend. It's like, beep. Oh, screw it. Just throw in the rods and stuff like that. But a lot of people when they go to Crescent, they'll double check everything. They'll buy brand new lures, and they'll take so much time to make sure everything's perfect. Which I mean, and you're doing so much time and effort there. It's just like that's the one place where people double check over everything to go fishing. I see, so they're always going to get them eventually.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Well, guys, that is reports for this week. Now, if people want to become a member, Dylan, how do they do that?
Oh, hang on, I've got one more. Sorry, I've got one more
Go.
report.
Where's it going?
I asked for the information earlier, and they must have only just knocked off work or something. But back on the kingfish again. Johnny Dodd and Matty Holloway managed to get out, and they caught some, and then happened to cross a nice bluefin. So that's cool when there's a crossover.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
in the same session, they've caught some nice kingfish. And he's just come back and said that was in the northeast and east of Pedal Point. So yeah, it's a really good fishing that way. Now I imagine that's probably Pedal Point. I'm not sure, but I'll get the map up and send it to Dylan to put in the recording podcast.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So obviously it's kingfish season at the moment. So I was talking to the guys at Shimano today. We've got an epic kingfish outfit coming worth around about $800. Which is going to be a big prize we're going to give away over the next couple of weeks. But lure packs going out every single week, guys. Don't forget to become a member. Support us if you like what we do. Go on the opportunity or a chance to win yourself some awesome prizes. And Dylan, how do they do that?
First of all, they've got to get their phone out of the fridge, and then they've got to type www.snagged.com.au into their browser, get themselves a membership, and get it quick before your phone overheats again.
Absolutely. Yeah, so help support us do what we do. We love doing this, guys, and I hope you guys get plenty out of it. But awesome prizes can be won for members as well. Awesome, guys. I think that's us for the week.
Cool bananas. We'll see you next week.
Catch ya.